Hi guys, let's try this today. First of all, I got this microphone and I'm experimenting with it. And I'm dog sitting this dog. So, I was vacuuming right now because the dog shits. And there was one vacuum, I tried it. It wasn't really picking up things, and I saw it's clogged. Then I got the other vacuum, I tried it. It wasn't picking up things, and I saw it's clogged. And I started taking it apart and unclogging it, and finally got it all cleaned out. And started vacuuming, and then finally everything started working. And if you enjoy cleaning, I enjoy it for the result, and I enjoy the activity as well. But when you clean, after that, everything feels so much lighter because you picked up all that dust that accumulates, and everything feels so much better. So this made me think of an analogy as us, like the human. There's a squirrel back there, I don't know if you can see it. It's on the fence. So I thought when we're born, we're this tabula rasa. See it up there? There it goes. And we are completely unconditioned consciousness. We come here wide-eyed. Where am I? What is happening? And then we're taught the ways of our culture and our particular family and the current values at the time, and what is right and what is wrong and what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. And as we've talked before, it varies so much. Let's say if you're born in a certain tribe in Africa, it could be perfectly normal to walk around barefoot all the time and just have something draped around your loins, and it's fine. But if you were born, let's say into royalty, you always have to be very careful what you wear. And if you were born in France at the time of wigs, you had to cover your hair all the time. And, bathing is for the poor people, but we rich people have perfume to cover up the smell of not showering for months at a time. Do these things make sense? No. Are they considered to be like definite norms at those places? Yes. So who makes up these rules, and why do we follow them is the question, and how come they keep changing? Anyway, let's go back on the tabula rasa and the clogged vacuum. What happens is we accumulate all of these rules and things and stuff over time, and at one point we get so clogged up inside that we start to regurgitate the same thing over and over and over, and life seems to be like on repeat. Let's say like Groundhog Day. And we're like, this is right, this is wrong, this is whatever, and we don't venture anywhere out of that because we're so like stuffed up inside with beliefs and shoulds and shouldn'ts that what happens is there's no room for anything else to take root. And in that case, what we need to do is to start unlearning, like what the Buddhists teach. And this is the great wisdom, unlearning. So every day, the more we learn, the more we need to unlearn and sift through everything that we have heard and experienced and say, okay, what do I want to believe about this? And most of all, about ourselves. Why do we believe that we're unworthy of having nice things? Unworthy of being that or this? And there's so many things that are interconnected, and maybe those are not beliefs that you have. But let's say if you look good, you have to be modest about it and not acknowledge it and always be like, oh yeah, whatever. And it's like, why can't you celebrate like being healthy and looking good and being confident about it without that taking away from anybody else? So I'm not talking about being egotistical and like full of yourself in a way that it's like, I'm the best and nobody else is as good as me. But it's like, I am unique and I'm beautiful the way that I am. And everybody is unique and beautiful. And we should celebrate that instead of putting ourselves down and comparing ourselves to other people. And that was something when I was shooting boudoir a lot. It was the message that I wanted to convey, that everybody's beautiful in their own unique way, and we come in different sizes and shapes, and that is interesting, because imagine if we're all the same, right? Like the flowers. This flower is beautiful. This flower is different, and it's beautiful. And they could be similar colors, but they're completely different. So that's why we can learn so much from nature, where in nature things are satisfied to be perfectly themselves. And they don't have this constant mental chatter of, oh, I should be like this, or I'm not enough like this, or I have to have like those kind of petals. Why don't I have these kind of petals? But to be satisfied, to be exactly who we are, and instead of constantly like trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong, how should I be, move into, let me go inside and uncover more of who I am, and let that be my purpose into the world, to just keep bringing up more of who I am and sift through these things that I have accepted, and only believe the things that make me feel good, and only see the best in myself and others. And to unclog yourself, you pretty much have to pull everything out, like I did, out of the vacuum. And then as you're picking up stuff during the day, which of course you will if you're living in society, when somebody says something that is putting themselves or another person, you can just ignore it and be like, that's not what I believe mentally. You don't have to argue with that person. But mentally you can also replace it with the exact opposite of it, which is something that is positive and beautiful and uplifting. And eventually that becomes like a practice where we learn to see beauty in everything and everyone, and we fill ourselves with more beauty and more love, and what we have within we notice on the without, and it becomes this change on the inside, where we start to feel worthy and deserving for no other reason but just because we were born on this planet in those amazing, miraculous bodies that are capable of so many things. And when we start to see things from this kind of perspective, that we don't need to strive for anything, we don't need to work hard to be worthy, we don't need to suffer to earn something, but from this more loving perspective, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm here to enjoy life and beauty, and to learn and to grow, and difficult circumstances are opportunities for me to bring more of my inner resources out. And life is just this amazing thing to be experienced, and there is no purpose to any of it except to grow more in love and joy and beauty and peace. And then all of a sudden you start to see the beauty in everything, and this love radiates out of you and helps other people get in touch with that and unclog themselves from all the stuff that they have picked up, that it's no one's fault. It's just conditioning and what we've been ingrained to believe, and how, to be like this is selfish, and to be proud of who you are, it's not a good thing. And if you start to examine all of these things, you can really see what is true for you, and why would be here if the purpose is suffering. It doesn't make sense. And why is suffering so glorified? It doesn't make sense. And why is pleasure considered to be like this luxury, when you can derive pleasure simply looking at nature like this. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you can enjoy yourself. And you can enjoy yourself at any moment. You can enjoy yourself as you're working. You can enjoy yourself as you're vacuuming. And you can think like, I'm making my home more pleasant. And I'm doing this for myself because I deserve it. Of no other reason. It's because I enjoy it, right? Anyway, these are the things that I'm thinking from the clogged vacuum. So it's all about unlearning these things and deciding for yourself, like, what do you want your experience to be in this body? And why not celebrate the body? And for me, this didn't happen overnight. It took a lot of unlearning. And the way I see it, the enlightened embodiment and like filling yourself up with light again, it's good to do it in the body. And for me, a big part of this practice, the way it happened, was to create art and to photograph myself nude with plants, to just connect to that inner wisdom and my natural intelligence instead of listen to all these things that I have picked up along my journey in a body. I thought, you know what? Just like everything in nature knows what it's supposed to be, I have that knowing inside of me. And the best way to connect with it would be to just reconnect with my body the way it is in its complete natural form and make friends with it and listen to its inner wisdom and find that connection with nature and see myself as part of nature. So that helped me tremendously to just get in touch with my natural sensuality, sexuality, in a way that I feel it on the inside, not any way that it's been projected onto me of how it should be or supposed to be or any of that. So all in all, I want to say you're worthy, you're loved, you are love. And it takes unlearning and unclogging and unlearning and unclogging and unlearning and unclogging, and then just feeding yourself the thoughts and the feelings that make you feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, you can discard it and say, no, that doesn't apply to me. Like you would do with the food that you don't like. It's like, why would you make yourself eat something that you don't enjoy when there's so much other stuff to eat? Have a happy Sunday.